What's going on, everybody? It's Dan back with another Moonshine talking, and this time I'm going to do an album review that I teased in my last album review. I'm going to review the latest one from Aborted, Vault of Horror. This thing came out in March on Nuclear Blast. It's pronounced nuclear. Uh, it, it's the band itself is from Belgium. They've been around since '95. The only original member of the band is Sven de Kalu. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. The rest of the band is Ian Jackellis on guitars, Daniel Conradson on guitars, uh, no, Stefano Franceschini on bass, and Ken Bedini on drums. Hopefully, I pronounced everybody's names correctly and I didn't butcher it. I believe the producer of this album is a man by Dave Otero. He mixed it as well. Uh, on that end, he did a phenomenal job. I even read some comments in the comment section of Nuclear Blast page with the full stream of this album. It's everybody praised it for good reason. They did a phenomenal job. Everything is very it's very it's mixed together very well, and it's pieced together nicely. Excuse me. The album itself is it's thematically the entire every song is based off of a different movie or particularly horror or at least horror themed to some degree. Uh, every song has a guest vocalist on it, most of which I'm not familiar with. I'll be honest, but I'm gonna go through and read the names one by one through the tracks. On Dreadbringer, the first one, uh, Ben Doer from Shadow of Intent he's the guest vocalist. Francisco Paoli from Flesh God Apocalypse, he's on track two. Johnny Ciardulo, he's from a band called Angel Maker, he's on track three. On track four, Death Cult, Alex Arian from Despised Icon is on it. Matt from Cryptopsies on Hellbound. Jason Evans of Ingested's on Insect Politics. On the Golgothan, they got Hal. I'm gonna butcher this one. Hal Microtisicos. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, Hal. But he's from a band called Blasphemous, also in another band called Engulf. On The Shape of Hate, they got Oliver from Archspire. Uh, Next one, David Simonich from Signs of the Swarm. And then finally, on the last track, The Mist, they got Ricky Hoover from a band called Of Sulfur. Not really familiar with a lot of the bands. Of course, Cryptopsy, I'm aware of. I've listened to them. Shadow of Intent, I've heard of. They played here before, but I didn't go to the show. But I know that they were fairly popular. I've heard of Despised Icon, Flesh God Apocalypse. Uh, I think I already said Archspire. Have never heard of the rest of them. Ingested, I think I maybe have heard the name, but I'm not really familiar with most of the bands. But they all did phenomenal in their roles as guest vocalists on all these songs. The album itself is held together with just brutal, sick riffs, nasty breakdowns. The drumming on this thing is freaking amazing. Ken Bedini, he's a phenomenal drummer. Like if I still work with a buddy he's a professional drummer, I'd be playing this for him and say, bro, you gotta listen to this. I know you don't like death metal and you hate the vocals and all that stuff, but you gotta listen to this shit because this is just amazing. His double kicks, his fills on stuff, the way it meshes with a lot of the ferocious riffing and just all the, like again the nasty breakdowns that they do in a lot of the songs. It's just top tier. I mean, this is a really good album. In my, I had mentioned I kind of teased it a little bit in the last one that there was a band that I was listening to their album and I wanted to give it a few more listens and I did. I finally got to sit down and actually put the headphones on and listen to them, and it was man, this is badass. This is definitely one of my favorite death metal tracks of the year. Here, give me 1 second. All right, and we're back. I'm allowed to lift again, baby, so it's time to get to it. Um, but yeah, this thing is friggin' amazing. This is such a killer album. I would pick this up most definitely if you haven't already. Uh, Even that the album cover, it's so amazing. It's awesome. If you're a horror guy like I am, you're gonna love everything about this. It's got elements on the illustration on it. I have to. The print is kind of small. I can't really see the credits for who the artist on this, but this is one of these ones that, yeah, I'm gonna get this on vinyl because it's so good. The whole presentation of it is phenomenal. But you can kind of see, like, as soon as this focuses in, you got elements of the thing, which is I'll get into that in a second. There's like I said, every song is based off of a horror movie or a horror theme. Because one of the songs, the Golgothan, that's based off of the movie Dogma, which is more of a comedy, but the Golgothan, the shit demon, is kind of creepy and dark. So I guess that's why they added that. But the song itself is a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album, besides the real tongue-in-cheek humor of it. It's got sick breakdowns. There's a lead on there that's really, for lack of a better way of describing it, is pretty soulful. Where most of the stuff is just straight ahead, kick you in the dick, punch you in the face, elbow you right on the temple, make you bleed, that sort of thing. It's really it's aggressive, it's nasty, violent, all those fun adjectives that I could throw in there, but it's really really good. But that one it's funny because there's a bunch of fun in that song, the Golgotha, and there's a bunch of funny tongue-in-cheek lyrics in there. And but one of them was Satan spawned the caca demon. So I just oh that's beautiful. That gets one of these just for that alone. It's really funny. But again, what would you expect from a song that's about a shit demon that's based off of all the excrement from all the people that died at Golgotha? But again, same thing. It's just lots of brutal double kicks in that one. A ton of pinch harmonics, if I'm saying that correctly. They incorporate a lot of that into a bunch of the songs, especially in a lot of the breakdowns, and give it a little bit more of a flavor, a little bit more spice on top of the brutality. But going track by track, I'll go back again. As far as track one, Dreadbringer, that is such a killer opener. That thing is amazing. I love the drumming on it. Again, the breakdowns, the pinch harmonics are brutal. The whole thing. It's based off of the thing. That's the theme of the song. Killer. Tremendous. Condemned to Rot is the second song. That's based off of Return of the Living Dead. Number three is Brotherhood of Sleep. They incorporate like cool ghost notes in that one. It's based off of Prince of Darkness. If you're not familiar with the John Carpenter movie, and I'll even say, speaking of him, there's little they use synths in this. They have a guest musician whose name escapes me. I didn't write it down. I apologize to you, but it's kind of like where this is brutal tech death. They also incorporate where if you've ever heard any of John Carpenter and his ambient music that he does, especially if you're familiar with any of the scores from any of the movies that he's directed or produced, there's elements of that in this which gives it a nice feel. But they incorporate a lot of that in various songs. But this again, anything based off of Prince of Darkness, you've got me hooked because that's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Death Cult is number four. That's based off of Texas Chainsaw. That's got more just sick double kicks. It's tech, but it's the drums on it are vicious. But it's very precise, and a lot of the stuff they do, just listen to it. Listen to the drumming on this is top notch. I mean, this to me, that's what holds this. Not that it needs to be held together, so forgive me for saying it that way or phrasing it that way, but that's really kind of like the underlying what key is like the foundation of this is the drums and the rhythms and all that sort of stuff, and then the riffs and again the breakdowns. I'll keep pointing that out on top of everything, and the vocals are sick through the whole thing. It's phenomenal. Hellbound, Hellraiser, of course. That's a great track. Insect Politics, which is based off The Fly. That's another good one. Again, the Golgothan, that was next up. I already mentioned that. The Shape of Hate, which Halloween, that's another. More breakdowns. That's the one with the tremendous. It's got a tremendous lead on it. Number eight is, or number nine, I should say. My apologies. Naturum Dumanto. That's based on Evil Dead. That's a fantastic one. Malevolent Haze, which is based on The Mist, which is kind of an underrated horror movie. That one's it's good. It's got a lot of fantasy elements with interdimensional beings and all that sort of stuff, and then cult mentality and flock herd mentality, that sort of thing, people's paranoia and all that sort of stuff. It's good. I mean, that's probably one of the better adaptations of a Stephen King novel that I've seen transferred to film. Thomas Jane's a tremendous actor. I love a lot of stuff that he's in. He's a very underrated actor. Doesn't get used too much anymore. I think the last thing he was in was a Daily Wire movie, which I imagine he must have pissed somebody off in Hollywood if he's stuck doing Daily Wire movies, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's a good one. There's even at about the 3 minute mark in Malevolent Haze, they go into a very haunting, clean guitar passage, and I th- I think, and it goes into this sick lead, which goes right back into some more brutal riffage, and then I think I'm saying it right. There's some awesome tremolo picking on it, and they do a thing where they're doing that, and then they pair it with, I think it's called paradiddles, but like if you just do the snare like you would hear in a military setting when they're just doing that type of snare drum beating. I think it's called paradiddles, but don't quote me. I'm not a musician. I'm not a real technical guy. I know a few terms that I think I'm using accurately. But other than that, yeah, this is phenomenal. This is a great. This one's definitely high on my list for the year. This one, I'm sure there's other things that people could recommend to me that they would say are as good or better than this one. But as far as stuff that I've heard, I mean, I just picked this up on a lark. I saw it at the store, at the record store last week, and I said, "Oh, cool," And I had heard little bits and pieces of it, but I heard it digitally while I was at work. I was listening to it on YouTube, so I didn't really get the full experience of it. Like I prefer to enjoy my music. And yeah, man, this is phenomenal. This is I would definitely pick this up. It's definitely this one gets five stank faces, no doubt. This one gets five stank faces. Two fists and horns in the air. This is a good one. This one's definitely I would pick it up. I'm not really familiar with Aborted. I'm probably gonna go back into their back catalog and listen to and pick up more of their stuff. I would suggest anybody do that. I'm going to at some of the people because I was looking through the comments and I saw some of the band members and some of the guest musicians and Dave Otero. They've got YouTube pages, or I don't know if they're channels or just their pages, but I'm going to add them in this just so they can see this. Not that I'm clout chasing or anything. But I'd like them to see, cheers, boys. You did a fantastic job on this one. I really enjoyed it for whatever my opinion is worth to anybody. But yeah, definitely Aborted. Vault of Horrors. Go pick this motherfucker up. This one will kick your dick right directly into the dirt. So yeah, that's that. Hope you enjoy the video. Hope you enjoy the review. Uh, I got more stuff coming up. By the time you see this, I'll have already posted something else up and just do some more shit. And yeah, that's it. So as always, stay in English class, folks, because if you can't speak, then you're ruined. But stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck your chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to slow down when you're talking, or else you're going to stutter and mutter like a dumb prick. And as always, so long from the Sunshine State, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.